Welcome to day 23 of this weight loss challenge. In today's lesson I'll be teaching you the third and final part of the self-hypnosis process. Now again, all of these steps, all of the techniques that I'm going to explain in this particular lesson can actually be downloaded from my weight loss blog, again, which is theinsideoutsapproach.com/blog. Now this method of self-hypnosis will involve you using step 1 and step 2. Now even though this is the third and final part of the self-hypnosis process, that you can still just carry on using that step 1, that technique that you use before you go to sleep at night. Now what you'll do with this particular method is, first off, you'll get a piece of paper, piece of card, and you'll write down a positive suggestion on that piece of paper, that piece of card. So for this example, we'll use, I am in complete control of food. So you'll write down that suggestion on the piece of paper, the piece of card. Once you've then done that, you then get yourself in a comfortable position. You'll get yourself where you've been running through that step 2, that relaxation process. So you'll get yourself nice and comfortable. You then look up and you look at that spot above eye level. But before you take those 3 deep breaths, what you then do is you hold the suggestion up and you'll read that suggestion to yourself 3 times slowly. You don't have to read it out loud, you just read it in your own head. So I am in complete control of food. I am in complete control of food. I am in complete control of food. Once you've read the suggestion 3 times, you just drop the suggestion. You then look at the spot and then take those 3 deep breaths. On that 3rd breath, you hold it then for a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Exhale that breath and then just allow your eyes then to close. Now at this point, once your eyes do close, it's entirely up to you what you do. The more you practice self-hypnosis, the quicker it becomes to relax. So if you close your eyes and you're already then beginning to start to feel relaxed, then at that point you don't have to count. What you then do is almost like quite similar to that step 1. You'll say to yourself the suggestion, what was written on that piece of paper. So with this example, you'll say to yourself, I am in complete control of food. And then you'll imagine yourself being in control of food. Whether maybe imagining yourself doing your weekly shopping, or whether imagining yourself maybe at a party avoiding the fatty foods. You then say the suggestion again to yourself, I am in complete control of food. You then imagine yourself that you can use that same mental image or pick something else. And you'll do that for however long you want to do it. If you want to do it 10 times, do it 10 times. You do want to do it longer, do it longer. What you then do is, once you've done that, you then count from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3, and then just allow your eyes to open. Now there may be points that when you're doing this, your mind wanders off. You lose focus. If that does happen, just bring your attention back to what you was doing and carry on using the technique. So if for some reason though you've closed your eyes but you don't feel relaxed, then before you move on to the process of giving yourself the suggestion and making that mental image, then do your counting first. So count from 25 down to 1. Get yourself into that relaxed state. Then give yourself that suggestion and then make the mental movie. You do what feels right for you. And the more you practice self-hypnosis also, what you might also be able to do is begin to shorten that count. So yes, start with 25 down to 1 first. But then if you're starting to relax much quicker, then maybe shorten it to 20 down to 1. Shorten it to 15 down to 1, 10 down to 1. Really find a method that works for you. So that's the method of actually giving yourself positive suggestions. What I'll now run through is some ideas about how you actually want to word suggestions. When you give yourself a positive suggestion, there's certain ways that you want to actually give yourself that suggestion. So when you're giving yourself suggestions, don't use negative words. So don't say to yourself, I do not eat fatty foods. Because what you're actually doing there is you're actually telling yourself that you eat fatty foods. So a good example of this would be if you're not eating fatty foods, then what are you having instead? So maybe that might be, well, I'm having healthy, nutritious foods. So word your suggestions around the outcome that you want. A good example of this would, a couple of years ago I was working with a client who had a fear of public speaking. The client said to me that they didn't want to feel nervous speaking to groups. So if that client used the suggestion, I do not feel nervous speaking to groups of people, that person is still focused on the negative aspects. That person is still focused on being nervous. So I asked the client, well, if you're not feeling nervous then speaking to groups, then how are you feeling? The person said, well, I'd be feeling confident. So the positive suggestion was worded around the outcome. I always feel confident speaking to groups of people. So really use positive suggestions, positive words. So don't use negative words, and the word, in a sense, if it contains the word not, it could be classed as a negative. I do not smoke, I do not eat fatty foods. Word it around the outcome that you want. I prefer the taste of healthy, nutritious foods. I am a non-smoker, using that example. Also use the present tense as well. When you give yourself a suggestion, word it like it's true now. All your unconscious mind knows is what's now. So if you said to yourself, I will eat healthily, then that's not actually happening now, it's going to happen in the future. And if you keep giving yourself the suggestion, I will eat healthily, then it's never going to happen. So use the present tense. I will eat healthily becomes I eat healthily. I will be in control of food becomes I am in control of food. I will be motivated becomes I am motivated. So use the present tense. And finally, keep your suggestions nice and simple, nice and short, straight to the point. You don't have to write an essay. You want one sentence, 2 at the very most. So just keep the suggestions nice and short, nice and simple. Now, if you've written a suggestion, or if you've got an idea for a suggestion, but you're not quite sure if it's worded correctly, then just put the suggestion in the comments bar. What I'll do is I'll look over that suggestion for you and just give you some pointers, give you some tips and techniques, just so that you're writing suggestions correctly.